Oh. Well, hello there. I hope you've been keeping well. I suppose you've noticed You Know Who isn't beside me this week. Well, that's because today, as well as revealing our brand new spring backdrop, I wanted to talk about a book that Ink found difficult to criticise and I really got a kick out of. This will be a brand new segment called Chosen Ones, where we talk about any books, movies, TV shows, games, any medium with a storytelling narrative that we're eager or excited to talk about. So a good mate of mine, who I'm superior to in every single way, bar none, recommended to me A Wizard of Earthsea some time ago. I only just got around to reading it recently, and boy oh boy, this is a good one. Hungry for power and knowledge, Sparrowhawk tampered with long-held secrets and loosed a terrible shadow upon the world. This is the tale of his testing, how he mastered the mighty words of power, tamed an ancient dragon, and crossed death's threshold to restore the balance. It's about damn time we reviewed some fantasy on this channel. As much as I get a kick out of anticipating the next random book on Open Library, I really didn't want to have to wait until I lucked out with a sci-fi or a fantasy on that segment, because there's no telling when that might be. First things first, the Earthsea Archipelago. I love this map and the 3 different languages, and I love the syntax in the Hardy dialect. To give you an example, although this isn't the best one, I do not know if I do right to send you from your safety here. I cannot see your way. It is all in darkness. And there is a power in the north, something that would destroy you. But what is it and where, whether in your past or on your forward way, I cannot tell. It is all shadowed. Personally, I love it when authors get overly creative with dialogue, even if it's to the point where the words are almost nonsensical when put together, because the deeper meaning is found when you read between the lines. I find the charm to the dialogue here is that it matches Ursula's third-person omniscient writing style, which I admit, it threw me a bit at first. This is mostly due to some weird tense changes, and I thought having tidbits of world building and lore splayed in between scenes would make the read a little enjoyable. But ultimately I warmed to the prose and it really immersed me in this world of Earthsea. Compared to other books in the genre, and because this is considered kids lit, A Wizard of Earthsea is actually quite small in its word count and really quite limited in its cast of characters. But I found this allowed for more focus on the elements of story I'm most drawn to, they being Sparrowhawk's journey of self-acceptance and the relationships he builds with the other characters who do make it on the page. It's a title from 1968, so there's little here in terms of story that will subvert your expectations, I guess. But personally, I'm all for it. I mean, there's few tropes in fantasy that I don't enjoy. One thing to note here, though, when Ursula did touch on this in an interview with The Guardian, the few female characters who are in A Wizard of Earthsea are predominantly dependent on men. I mean, she stated at the time of writing, men were at the centre of fantasy and that from her own cultural upbringing, she couldn't go deep down and come up with a female wizard. So I know this can deter or raise alarms for a lot of people, but when authors can admit to a fault like this in retrospect, I feel less inclined to discredit that particular element about a book, but only in terms of my enjoyment of it. I also noticed that she introduces a female wizard protagonist in the 4th book, so it's not like this issue is a recurring theme. So getting down into the minor details, I love how fantastical creatures, some of which are people's pets, get a lot of page time in the book. I love how secretive everyone is about their real names, the wizards most of all. I love sailing between all these different islands and the disparity between how remote or civilized they all were. And I know this may seem like a tired trope, but fuck it. I love how adventurous this book is. I mean, it's great to see how character-driven a lot of fantasy is getting nowadays, but when you have point-of-view characters in all the different parts of your world, I feel like you sort of lose the novelty of having your protagonist step into a mysterious new setting for the first time and seeing how they'll react to it. Mystery and magic is a formula you will sell me on time and time again, and personally I want to see more of it outside of kids' literature. Yes, I can recommend this to anyone looking for an absolute classic of the genre, And yes, if the sequels are anything like this book, I'm excited to continue this series. It's easy to see how the coming-of-age elements of this book inspired the Kingkiller Chronicles, and I am hoping we're dealing with a similar passage of time in these next installments, because it really makes the experience all the more dynamic. Review of Anne Enright's The Gathering is coming soon. I've read it. Need some more time to really wrap my head around it though. It might be a couple of weeks before that one's out though, so if you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop us a like, mash some keys in the comments section and then post that. I dare you.
Hey, yo, Jordy, where do you keep your beers?